First, I want to say thank you to our sister, and I'll start with a quick vulnerable share to play to win in a room like this. If you see me and I come up to you and I'm like bubbly and I'm first to speak, that's a skill. That's not who I am at heart. It's me saying, I sat in every single room every year that my husband played in the league, and I sat there like, okay, they must be the bougie ones, they must be the A-list players, they must be the this and the that, and I judged everyone why they weren't talking to me while I wasn't talking to them. And then when I started coaching our ladies of our community, I realized we're all thinking the same thing. We're not talking to each other. So please, this weekend, just be the first to speak. I made that a pact with myself. I'm always the first to speak, whether I'm in the line at Starbucks or in the elevator. So I've already spoken to many of you. And that came from emotional intelligence of judging, she's stuck up, she's this, and they're thinking the same thing about me. So just wanted to say that when you see me being that woman, it's by choice, not by nature. But for years, I've wanted to speak at this conference. Every time I see the flyer, I'm in the DMs like, do you need a speaker? I want to speak. Because I've been mastering emotional intelligence and relationships and communication, because I raised my hand because I was the biggest, all of the offenders. Bitch ass nigga, like all of the things. And I was telling my girl, I was like, I was just calling him a bitch today in the room, so that's why I raised my hand. Don't record that part. But the truth is what I've learned about life is we're never perfect. We never arrive, and it's a constant choice from moment to moment to either choose my higher self, Kristel, who I want to be, who I want people to see me as, or my true self, which is human, flesh, jealous, insecure. And so the irony of being asked to speak this year was days after I announced on social media that my husband and I of 18 years are getting a divorce. And of course, from a vulnerable perspective, the imposter syndrome was real. I'm not gonna have, my ring, y'all, is as best as they come. My husband did a really good job. It used to bling and lights like this, so I'm like, dang, that ring would have looked so bomb in here. So I'm like, they're gonna judge me. She don't even have a ring. She's not married. How's she gonna stand before us and talk about relationships? But then God worked on my heart, and he said, who's better than for you to do this, because I've been through every single stage of it, and now even on the other end, and being single, I'm gonna tell you, these streets swallow me whole. So that's another story. Follow the podcast. But okay, so when I came into terms with I get to stand here before you guys, I started reflecting on my seasons, and I reflected on the rookie year when, my husband was first in the league, and I was dealing with all of my insecurities of like, am I pretty enough? What do I wear to the games? I don't look like them. I don't shop at the design. I'm a broke college student, so I was wearing Forever 21, and these women were wearing designer, and I didn't have the worthiness to ask my husband we weren't married, to buy me all the designer. So I went through that, going through his phone. We had sidekicks, so I don't know who had the sidekick, but I had his dashboard pulled up after class, like who texted him, who emailed him, who's on his AIM. I had everything, and I'm not proud of that, but I share it because this was my journey. And so I was the jealous, the insecure. Then we went into him winning Super Bowl and being in his career, and then I went to that inadequate phase where I was like, well, who am I? What am I doing? What's my hat to hang on? Then the babies, we started having babies. We have 5 daughters. So that took a toll of just being busy, stressed, tired, overwhelmed. And in that season, you don't have as much sex anymore. You don't feel like having sex. You don't feel sexy to have sex. You wonder if everything's working the way it used to. There's all the things. Then it's communication, because you're not being vulnerable. He's not being vulnerable. We're not talking about our problems. And so we went through that. So in all these years of trying to not be the crazy girl, not be the communicator, the non-sexually active, all the different stages of a relationship, I was reading books, I was attending conferences, and I became textbook savvy at emotional intelligence, relationships, communication, all the things. So then I started a business, and that was when I really started coaching women in the league, because I wanted women like me not to waste their time sitting in rooms thinking they didn't belong there. I wanted women to utilize if you're not doing it now, utilize our network. Like I think my husband was on the cover of Taco Bell and Arby's and all these things. I should have been like, can you sponsor my event? Can you do this? Can you do that? But I didn't feel worthy of tapping into the network. And then the network is not always there. It is, but it's not the same when you're in it. So I wanted to help women to feel worthy to take advantage of this community while it's hot. And then now take advantage still. I'm more tapped in here post-league. He retired in 2009 than I was when we were in the league. So it's never too late, but it is hot. While you in it, be hot. I tell my sister-in-law all the time. And so we navigated all these seasons. None of those took us out from infidelity. He says he never cheated. I say, if you looked at the woman, you cheated on me. So we argue about that. But infidelity, trust issues, communication, all the things, 5 babies, never was ready to leave. But one day my body started falling apart and I was losing, my head was bigger than my body. It kind of still is, but I'm gaining weight. And I started getting these rashes everywhere, and I was just falling apart physically. So that sent me on a soul-searching journey. I was praying, God, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's going on? And that's when I realized the one thing that was missing was self-love, was knowing who I was, we pour into everything around us, especially, our men, thank you guys provide beautiful lives. And so it's easy for us to be like, hey, as long as you win and you bring home that check, I'm a cook, I'm a clean, I'm a roll over, I'm gonna do whatever you need to do, I'm gonna take care of the kids. Like I was first to sign up for that role, but not realizing that I was losing sight of who Kristel was. And so as I sought out to find who I was, that's when I really started to understand self-love. So just by popcorn, when you think of self-love, what do you think of? Like, what are ways you guys express self-love? Meditation, yes. Yes, taking a break. Like, we're here right now. This is us giving ourselves love. Anything else? Working out, massages, yes. Ooh, yes, dancing. Ooh, boundaries. Ooh, yeah. So I didn't know any of that. I thought self-love was self-care. And I took care of myself. My Instagram handle used to be kept up. Like my hair was done, my Botox, my lashes, my nails, my outfits. Like I stayed ready. But when I looked at it, it was all still for not getting traded in, not getting cheated on, not getting left behind. It wasn't about self-preservation. It wasn't about, Kristel, I love you so much, I'm going to take time for you. It wasn't that. And so I brought these flowers. These were actually donated by Bloom Te Amo, so thank you, shout out to her. And what I was going to pass these out, but just logistically it didn't feel aligned. So what I want you to do is just kind of observe this pot of flowers. And these are the ones, she had a wedding. And so I asked her for the leftovers, the leftover ones. And so when you look at these, I was going to have you guys hold them and just observe, like, did you notice, did you compare yours to your neighbors? Were you like, this one right here is broken. Oh, broke it. But, some of them are skinnier. I would have liked to get this one. This one's pretty. Like, I feel like it's like a little bouquet if I ever get married again. But we want to look like this one. We want to look put together. We want to look like the bouquet. We want to look like everything's perfect. But we forget that the only way to be full and whole is to really work on who we are on the inside. And so I was going to have you guys just observe your flower, but what I'm going to have you do instead is I would love for you to just take a minute and close your eyes. Everyone just close your eyes. And I would love for you to just bask in yourself for a moment and just notice what thoughts are coming up. Are you noticing walls dropping? Are you listening to the sounds? Are you thinking of what you're going to do when you open your eyes? And I want you to just be with yourself for a moment. I didn't bring my phone up here, but I was going to time it, so I'll just emotionally time it. But just stay here for a moment. I want you to wrap your arms around yourself. If you have a drink, put it down if you can. I want you to give yourself a hug. Keeping your eyes closed even if it feels uncomfortable. And just start caressing your arms and just telling yourself, I love you, Kristel. I love you, Amanda. I love you, Keith. I love you, Lacey. I love you, Kim. I love you, Amber. I love you, Denisha. Whatever your name is, just tell yourself how much you love you. And give yourself gratitude for doing everything you had to do to get here, because like I was talking to my girl, Lacey, she had to cook. I know when I used to leave, I used to prepare the meals. I used to make sure the schedule was out for the kids. It took so much just to leave the house. So just give yourself gratitude for everything you had to do to be here today. All the packing, the preparing, the overthinking. Continuing to keep your eyes closed because you deserve this moment with yourself blocking out everything around you. And I want you to just set an intention for this weekend of what is it that you need the most right now. Call it in, because we get what we have the courage to ask for. And I'm just going to be silent for a moment to give you that space with yourself and just really ask yourself what you need, because we look outside of ourselves for everything, but everything we need is right inside. So just giving yourself that moment. To the men, thank you guys for putting your bodies on the line week after week. I watched my brother during quarantine. His discipline to this game is out of this world. The alarms just to eat meals and getting in the Word, reading the Bible, just the discipline it takes to be at the 1% of the league. We don't take it for granted. We're grateful for you guys. We're grateful for the life that we have because of you. And just one last couple seconds with yourself. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Does anyone want to share anything was it hard for anyone to stay with their eyes closed, or did anything come up? Does anyone want to share anything? No? Come on, one.
I think sometimes it's hard to love yourself fully. After everything you go through in life, experiences, it was hard to say, like, I love you to myself.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. Oh, and then I'll come to Erica. Oh, ladies first. Yes, thank you.
I think it was more difficult. You can be in tune and you're starting to say the things like, I love you, and all the maybe little challenges you have in your life, but you get distracted often. And I think meditation leads to distraction. You start thinking about all the things you need to do. And in the mind, I'm like, oh my God, did I send that email? But I should be thinking about, how do I care about myself? Not about responding to the email that can wait an extra 2 hours or whatever it takes. So I think it's being able to really shut off and focus simply on yourself versus on everything else around you.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it takes such a practice to do it over and over. And for many of us, I know for me, I'll just speak and then I'm going to come to you. When I first started doing meditation, I couldn't slow down for even a minute. And I saw how hard it was to just be by myself for even just a minute. I challenge you guys outside of this space to just set an alarm for 5 minutes and see how hard it can be if you don't practice it. So as I close, I wanted to just tie it back to, like I said, we were together 18 years, 5 babies. We went through so much. And the one thing that I believe took us out was just me not loving myself. And in hindsight, and I don't say dated, I learned dated is when you consistently hang out and talk to the same person. I just have met a lot of people since. And so every time I meet, whether it's a man or a woman, I'm reflected back with these people, and I'm like, dang, you sound like my husband. Dang, you sound like my husband. Dang. And so I'm going to be the first to admit and be honest that I do believe my husband and I could have saved our marriage had I just adjusted my attitude. I was trying to apply all the things that I teach, but if I'm honest, I wasn't practicing what I was preaching. I just really wasn't. I wasn't loving myself. I wasn't adjusting my attitude. I had entitlement. I felt like he was the problem. And I got to this point where I was just like, you're the problem. I'm the saint because I do all the work. I'm emotionally intelligent, and I got on a high horse. And I just share that to say that really remember in relationships, one of the biggest things I've learned for the success of relationship is we're all human. All of our shit stinks. It doesn't get greener on the other side. If you're out of alignment, don't stay. I'm not sure yet if me and my husband were out of alignment or we were just in a season. And I trust that if we were just in a season, we're going to come back together. But all of that to say, in our humanness, separate the person from the behavior. So when you can see that what they're doing, what they're saying, ask yourself, where is this coming from? And we can just start looking at the person on the other side of us, that they have the best interests at heart, because we're so quick to believe that they're out to get us and that they have our worst interests at heart, that then we collect evidence to support that all the time, instead of being like, okay, he didn't come home or he didn't call, maybe his phone died, where I went straight to who's he with, where's he at? I was checking Instagram, I was on my Finsta, checking all the other, like doing all the things. So anyway, thank God we didn't have social media when we were in our heyday, because I probably would have been in jail. So all of that to say, what I want to leave you guys with is one of the biggest lessons I've learned. I lost everything in a way, because one of the things of being a dependent is I got cut off. And I don't say this to out our business. I just say this to speak honestly in a room like this, that you never know. It went from I had everything taken care of to a wife sent me my clothes for this weekend. Another wife set up my makeup to get my makeup done. I'm sleeping with my brother and his girlfriend, and I'm being vulnerable about that, because it was humbling to go from being the girl who pays for every dinner when you go out to being, oh, I have a trip, boom, check out, throw it in the bag, get my makeup done, to being like, I either have gas money for me and my kids or makeup, gas money or the drink. Like, thank God you guys got the open bar, because I wasn't gonna. So I'm being vulnerable to say you never know. Don't live in fear of that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying prepare for it. I'm just saying be mindful that you never know, and never thought that that would be my reality. But our community has taken care of me. But the only way that I was able to be supported is by being humble enough to admit that I needed help, and to be vulnerable enough to receive it. So I'm grateful for every person who has DM'd me, reached out to me, given me something, supported me. Barbara, I just want to give her a shout out. She's celebrity media coach on Instagram. She helped me put my talk together, because mentally I'm going through a lot, and so she helped me organize my thoughts to stand before you guys today. She's like, don't worry about it, I got you. So the community just rallied together to support me for this weekend, and so thank you for having me, Denisha. Thank you for creating this space for us to be together, and I just encourage you guys to link up, get information. You never know when you're going to need somebody in this room, and we're all here for a reason. So connect, 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 and thank you guys.
First, I want to just say, Kristel, you guys know how in order for a diamond to really be beautiful, it has to go through something, right? Say it again. Kristel, you are so beautiful to me. Guys, you never know what the person beside you is going through. It is weekends like this, when we get together, when you are able to be real, when you are able to connect with somebody. I have watched you, and I couldn't relate. Y'all have been married almost 20 years. I might not look like it. But 20 years, we got 4 kids. So I won't say that I was too far removed, but I was, right? Our intimacy looks a lot different sometimes. So in watching you and Kristel coaching young wives, to me, I thought it was cute, because I couldn't relate. But when you watch somebody go through something, the level of respect, their ability to be transparent about it, that's when I said, you know what, she got something. Because there's people that will go through and hide, or be real fake, act like they have it all together. I was one of them. And it was events like this where I said, you know what, wives, why don't you get real? It's young women that need to hear the real, for real. And nobody is giving it to us. Tell me how to be a better wife. Tell me to stop buying all this Gucci and Louis when my babies really need a trust fund. So that is why you guys are here this weekend. You're going to learn how to play to win.